What you gonna do when it all comes back to the place that you never wanted it to come back to? Where you gonna roam when the bottom drops out and you got no place to go? Who you gonna trust when trust is a must? You better roll with the rest of us. So pack your bags and all the faith you can, 'cause it's about ready to hit the fan. Come to ready. 2012 brought about the re-election of an antichrist. Come to ready. You don't believe it, just so deep into the soul of the liars.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pierce Kibbey. I'm the founder and chief instructor for Practice Inc., a veteran-owned and local business here in Lakeland, Florida. Our motto is making tactical practical. With that, I am proud to announce that recently I became an instructor for force-on-force training for UTM, or Ultimate Training Munitions worldwide. This allows me to utilize non-lethal training ammunition and conversions and take a live fire firearm and convert it using a barrel swap, a recoil spring, or even just a slide regarding pistol, or for the AR, just a bolt for bolt. Open up that lower and the upper, remove the live fire bolt, pop in the new converted bolt for the non-lethal training ammunition, and we're ready to go. This allows us to train indoors. It allows us to train outdoors. They currently have over 147 different conversions for various firearms, even for full auto and of course belt fed. For this though, mainly our focus is going to be pistol and rifle along the AR-15 platform. Now myself and another instructor with Kitac Defense Solutions, he has also went to the same training, and working together we're going to be able to offer a lot of different training environments based on both of our experience and knowledge. With that, I'm going to just briefly touch on some of the capabilities. So what I brought here with me tonight is 3 different types of the ammunition that they offer, and one of the converted firearms that I have. Now, what the firearm that I will be showing you is going to be a 6 Hour Pro 2022 9mm. And with this, you will notice a couple things. So, first and foremost, physical check, right? No magazine in there, nothing in there. Don't know that you guys will be able to see it, but visual check in here also, and physical, nothing in the chamber, okay? Safe direction. Also, what you can hopefully see is the black line on the top. Now what that tells me as an instructor is that this pistol is capable of firing the battlefield blanks or the silent blank rounds. So go ahead and lock that slide back, and also notice in the magazine that there are no rounds. Now the great thing also about this conversion is that using just the factory magazines, it's not a problem. Now, for some different firearms, they do offer specific magazines. You don't have to use them, but you can use them. They do help a little bit more on the reliability and the feeding, right? For the most part, what we're utilizing is the same live fire mags that we'd be utilizing, just firing full metal jacket, defensive rounds, anything like that. Now, starting off first is going to be the silent blank round. Okay, it's going to be kind of hard to tell from the box. I don't know that you'll be able to see it. However, on that box is going to be a white tip. The round will look like that. It's going to look just like a normal live fire round. The difference is this is non-corrosive, non-toxic. That's why it's nice to be able to fire it indoors. This round will be the silent blank. This will give you the same capabilities as firing live fire, but with no noise. It'll cycle the action, so instead of using just dry fire and not having any action from the slide, or just using dummy rounds and again not having any action from the slide, you can get that action. It's great for going over the fundamentals, especially as an instructor. We can utilize this and determine how somebody's fundamentals are, whether their breath control, their sight alignment, their sight picture, their trigger control, their stance. All those fundamentals are coming into play, right? Now the next one we have up is the battlefield blank. Now again, this is going to be the box for the battlefield blank. Hopefully you can kind of see it, but what you will notice over on the right hand side is that it does have a black tip instead. Okay, so utilizing that black tip instead of the white, this lets me as an instructor know that this is a battlefield blank round. In other words, it's going to be very loud, and it's going to give me the capabilities to have that audio stimuli, right? So instead of me as an instructor just going threat, assess, up, any of those numerous stimuli that we can utilize words-wise, this allows me to actually have an audio stimuli and give it with a converted firearm to a role player, or give it to the actual student that I'm going over different things to, again, assess those fundamentals. How are they doing? Does that noise cause them to flinch? Does it cause them to slap the trigger? Are they getting too much trigger? You know, what are they doing there? Are they trying to account for any recoil? So this is a great capability, and because of the force-on-force applications, again, it allows me to actually have the stimuli be on the role player, and they initiate the action. So now you have a great review of action versus reaction and understanding that reactionary gap, right? Understanding that if you're on the reaction side, you're still going to be slower than the actual individual causing the original stimuli or the action. It allows you as the student to be assessed on how long it takes you to recognize that there is a threat, the intent of that threat, formulate a plan to it, whether it's a short-term memory or you're accessing your long-term. Are you fight or flight? Are you freezing? Are you posturing? Or are you submitting to that scenario, right? So it has a really great capabilities for that. And we can do this indoors, we can do this outdoors. That's the nice thing about it. There's no special programs or special ventilation that we have to utilize because it's non-toxic. There's nothing that's coming out of there. So that brings us into the last one, and we're going to do a separate video on this, but this is the actual man marker round. This utilizes two different primers. One that's going to control the recoil of the firearm, and the second one that's going to control the inertia of that man marking round. Like I said, we'll go ahead and get into that on another video, mainly because I'm going to do some demonstrations for you guys and let you understand how and what the capabilities are and how awesome this is for me to be able to utilize as an instructor to help you. It's a great way to really step up your training and assess if what you've done to this point in time has really made a difference or not. So what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go do some demonstrations for you using the silent blank round and the battlefield blank round. All right, so one more time, I'm going to go ahead and check visual and physical. Not sure that you guys will be able to see that. And visual and physical, right? Nothing there. Go ahead and let you guys check there, okay? No live rounds. I'm going to go ahead and load the battlefield blank first, and then the silent blank on top of that, and give you guys a demonstration. Okay. Now, the minimum safe distance for the silent blank round is contact. So this is a great option for when we're doing force on force, talking about weapon retention or even disarms. Why? Well, I started off doing that with blue guns, And the problem with that is that stimuli is bang, or as soon as you see the other person move, then you go ahead and execute your technique, right? But there's no audio, there's really not much of a stimuli there. Well, the next step that I went to was airsoft, using gas blowback. And that does raise the level because now there is that pain stimuli. And from my point of view as an instructor, it's a great training resource that really allowed me to understand what my student was going through and be in the same situation too. Well, this is the big brother to all that. This allows you to actually have a live fire capability firearm, and just by utilizing one of the conversions depending on that firearm, we're actually able to change your normal everyday carry firearm or your duty firearm into one that fires non-lethal training ammunition by Ultimate Training Munitions. So I'm going to do two demonstrations for you. Okay, keep in mind the white box or the white tip is going to be the first round that we fire, and that's a zero contact distance. In other words, I could hold this right up against you and there's no problem. There's no flame, there's nothing toxic that comes out of there, and there's no projectile, right? So that's a huge game changer when it comes to working on weapon retention. So, piece of paper, hopefully you can see there's nothing wrong with it. No tricks. Yep, hit me in the head. But, nothing, okay? No marks, right? No holes. Now, this one's gonna be a little bit different. This contact distance is a recommended 18 inches, okay? So, for 18 inches, now from that approximate 18 inches, you see a few little marks on there, but again, that is why it's recommended for the safe training distance of 18 inches. But the great thing about this is that, again, it's non-toxic. It's not something where we need a big fancy ventilation system in here to train with. So the next step up after that, following that line of work, would be the man markers and utilizing the training diagram that we utilize as force-on-force instructors. We start out with going over the skills, then we're going to do force on target. From force on target, we work into force on role player. That means having a target back here or multiple targets and having a role player who's dressed up in the proper safety equipment, who's able to walk back and forth and be in those different areas, right? And you have to be, as a student, you have to be accountable on accuracy. And if you're not, then you're held accountable. Now, the other thing that has to be taken into account is safety, right? So it's recommended a dual layer of clothing, minimum. And for the helmets, we utilize the full face helmets, okay? And it's got the neck protector. They are flesh-seeking rounds. Speaking from our 3-day training course for the Master Instructor course, it proved its worth in regards to flesh-seeking rounds. So this has a neck protector that velcros on here. This covers your whole head, and it really does work very well. We took a lot of shots to the head, the neck, various areas. And then of course, like I said, they're flesh seekers. So what else is highly recommended? Nice padded gloves, right? So these are the UTM gloves that they utilize for force on force. Nice and padded, and some reinforcement right here. First-hand experience, I took multiple rounds to the hand, working on room clearing, vehicle approaches, a lot of different dynamics that we were going through. And these gloves definitely help save my hand in several regards. Now, the pistol round is coming out at approximately 335 feet per second, which is faster. Those of you that play paintball or anything like that, most fields will kind of limit you around 280 feet per second. So this is coming out of there at a pretty good speed on the man marker. Again, remember, the man marker is the only one that has that projectile for non-lethal training ammunition. The silent blank and the battlefield blank do not. Now, the AR-15, that is going to come out at about 375 feet per second. So it is coming out again a little bit hotter. You do feel it, but the nice thing is, while wearing those double layers of clothing, having the good protective gear for your hands and having the good protective gear for your face, it does get that limbic system response of fight, flight, freeze, submit, or posture, depending on what the situation is. But it's a great stress test. So I'm very proud and happy to announce that I am able to now offer that. As you noticed from the video before this, it just kind of gives you a little bit of taste of some different things. Now, we can take a very basic student or somebody that's never handled a firearm before, even kids, introduce them starting off with the silent blank, battlefield blank, and then working them to a man marker round. The other thing is those man marker rounds allow us as instructors to do this indoors, like I said, and they're very accurate. So you can get a 2-inch group out to approximately 15 yards with the 9mm round, and then a 2-inch group at 25 yards with the AR-15 5.56 round. So all in all, it's a very well conceived product. We've got a lot of great things coming to you. We can work on vehicle drills, we can work on home defense drills, we can work on retention, disarms, we can work on family safety, you know, husband and wife teams of if you ever have to defend your house, and going over the important parts for that. So we look forward to being able to share this with you and being able to utilize this in indoors, outdoors, and in very safe environments. So remember, Proverbs 22:3 says what? The prudent person foresees danger and takes precautions. The simpleton goes blindly on and suffers the consequences. Which one are you?